Welcome, everybody, to Irish Illustrated's Instant Analysis. I'm Tim Prister with Tim O'Malley from Irish Illustrated, joined by John Brice from FootballScoop. And Instant Analysis brought to you by the RVMH Hall of Fame in the Northern Indiana Event Center in Elkhart, Indiana. Well, if we said last week was a must-win at 0-1, this is the reality of a must-win. Notre Dame 0-2 playing a Purdue team that probably comes in here, Tim, feeling pretty good about themselves. They competed with USC. Threatened to make it a one-score game with about 5 minutes to go. They probably feel like they've got a chance to beat Notre Dame today.
I feel like the USC game helps Purdue in a way that they could not have prepared for Notre Dame aptly if it was just Ball State. Last year it was Indiana State. They beat 49-0. Obviously that had nothing to do with Notre Dame killing them, but I feel like the USC game lets them see what's in store athletically for Notre Dame. And honestly, just to jump right in, if Leonard Moore is out and Devontae Smith is out, and Aldon Schuler is missing the first half, that gives Purdue a chance to have a pretty good first half offensively, because there's not only communication issues, there's some talent issues covering Purdue's wide receivers.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's where I was going next, JB, because you got Armand Branch and Nitro Tuggle to deal with, and the three guys that Tim just mentioned. Schuler will be back in the second half, but big things can happen in the first half here in Notre Dame Stadium, and some young guys are going to have to step up in the secondary.
And frankly, at max capacity, we haven't seen great secondary play anyway, so there's no reason to think that there won't be some sort of drop-off in that regard today, except they're not facing as much talent as what the Irish faced in their first two games. But it's a critical contest for them. Purdue does present some challenges, and Purdue plays with exponentially more physicality under Barry Odom than it did a year ago. And that will be this team's MO. His teams in the SEC, whether as defensive coordinator or as head coach, were always very physical, tough-nosed. He was DC when Missouri was winning some SEC East championships and had the best stretch that program has had in the modern era under Gary Pinkel. And so his teams will adopt that personality, that philosophy. They'll play with great physicality today, and Notre Dame will have to meet that challenge at all three levels of its defense, but I think particularly in the first and third levels.
Staying on that topic, Tim, Ryan Brown, we talked about him during the week. He's done some really good things.
Yeah.
He's athletic, he's long, he throws the ball confidently. He also throws the football to the other team quite a bit.
He does, and he's not bad for QB3 if you're going Carson Beck, Marcel Reed, and Ryan Brown, if you want to look at it that way for Notre Dame's challenge. But he will do that, and I think it's because he challenges the deep middle and the mid-middle, 10 to 19 yards, I don't know how else to say that, the mid-middle and the deep middle, more than do most quarterbacks. I mean, he's probably attempted 24 passes over the middle this year. That is where issues can happen, because you have a safety lingering if it's overthrown, you have linebackers coming underneath, you have tip passes. I think a lot of quarterbacks have started to eschew the middle of the field, sometimes to the detriment of an offense, but he's going to attack Notre Dame down there, especially in the first half. And when I said not enough talent, I didn't mean talent that Zachary and Dallas Golden aren't talented. I mean developed talent. Obviously, Dallas Golden, who could play a lot of nickel today, and Mark Zachary, who could start at the field, are going to be very good players. But you're not always Leonard Moore and Benjamin Morrison in your first game.
Well, Mike Mickens told us early they're going to be good, but they're not ready. That was just a few weeks ago. I'm sure they're a lot closer now. Getting back to Ryan Brown, officially he threw 3 interceptions last week, but there was a fourth one in there that was negated by a roughing the quarterback penalty. He ended up throwing an interception in that same series, so he wouldn't have had 4 in the game. But he threw 4, and he's only thrown 88 passes this year. That's not a good percentage. So you would love to have Notre Dame starting secondary out there against a guy like this now, since he's willing to throw the football to the other team. But it's going to be a green secondary for the Irish.
It's going to be a green secondary. We heard Marcus Freeman say it on Monday. We've all alluded to it. This is a Notre Dame defense that has to match its up front, its D-line pressure with its back-end coverage. And I'm less concerned about the second level of Notre Dame's defense. Right. I still have a great high degree of belief in the Irish linebackers core, but I need to see more from the defensive line. Notre Dame certainly needs to see much more from the defensive line. For Marcel Reed to have completed 17 of 37 passes, you think the secondary did its job, and then you see that it was 21.2 yards per completion, 360 yards, 6 plays that it accounted for like 184 yards or something like that. Notre Dame has to tighten that down. It has to find ways to get more pressure on the quarterback, and if it does, to your point, TP, he will throw the ball to the guys in blue today.
All right, let's get to the offensive side, where I think we all think this is going to be a high-scoring game. Notre Dame has some opportunities. I think against a I expect to see a 4-man line from Purdue. They essentially went a 3-man line against USC
tough against Notre Dame.
Well, yeah, you can't do that because of Jeremiah Love. And I understand what they were doing with the big play receivers at USC and Jade Maeva. But, look, Notre Dame has, I think this is a great opportunity for them to put some points on the board, an opportunity for Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price to pick up where they left off last week in the running game.
And I hope they pick up as a tandem. Get 30 touches between the two of them, and then I don't care who you're working in out of Fields, Reardon, Greathouse, Pauling, and Faison. It does, and maybe Micah Gilbert. It doesn't matter as long as those two are your bell cows. They're getting 30 touches, most of it in the run game. Obviously, Jeremiah Love in the pass game as well. But look, I know people want to see Pauling involved and Greathouse involved. It's fine if Malachi Fields has 6 catches for 90 yards and Eli Reardon has 5 catches for 75. But 2 people have to help. 2 people have to help this running game, and then I think you're getting into as long as you score touchdowns in the red zone, you can get comfortably away from Purdue in the fourth, maybe late third quarter. I'm saying even if Purdue plays well, as long as Notre Dame can play well offensively, the Irish defense should be able to hold them in check.
Yeah. Special teams is key here today because it appears that Notre Dame is going to be without Noah Burnett, who's done a good job. I mean, I know there's been some talk about Notre Dame's grad transfer players, and they haven't been productive. Noah Burnett has been, but it looks like he's going to be out. So it's Marcello Diametti and Eric Schmidt. We'll see who goes today.
Yeah, and Schmidt we've all talked about it in preseason camp. We could hear the ball off of Schmidt's foot in practice without having to see that was who just kicked the ball. So we know that the leg strength is there. The accuracy, he's a true freshman. It's different. He hasn't kicked in a game. That's obviously different. So if it is Eric Schmidt, particularly if they have to try a long field goal, just remember it's his first ever collegiate attempt, and I doubt that we'll worry about it coming up short. We might have to see how the accuracy is dialed in. One more quick note on the offense. It's time to see a third running back. It's time for Notre Dame to either have
I think it would have, right, if Williams was healthy?
Sure.
I think so, probably. But they're putting him back on kick return, which is interesting to me that they feel like he can be deep on kick return, but they don't want him apparently carrying the ball. He's still wearing what I call that RoboCop brace. We know Nolan James has kind of been that third guy. It's a much hotter day today than it was last Saturday night. So you hope that they can get to a third running back early if they need to. And one more quick note about the Purdue offense against the Notre Dame defense. His name escapes me, but the Purdue offensive coordinator was on that USC staff that put up all those points last November against a much better Notre Dame defense. So watch for that today. He knows what can be weaknesses or what were weaknesses for that Irish defense last year. You can bet he'll try to exploit some similar things today.
I'm also looking to the punt return game with Jordan Faison. Purdue punter's averaging 52 yards a punt. He's only had 6, but he's blasting the football, and he came from Washington. He wasn't that good last year, but he's blasting.
Neither was Miami's kicker until he was good against Notre Dame.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So Jordan Faison, Notre Dame's in a position where Purdue can flip the field pretty well. Let's see if Jordan Faison can cut down on some of those yards from that 52-yard punting average.
I think we stay with special teams because Marcus Freeman emboldens his special teams coordinator to do things. Barry Odom does that as well. Something's going to happen in special teams today. There's 2-time special teams coordinator, national special teams coordinator of the year.
You know him.
Exactly.
And of course, Marty Biaggi was FootballScoop's last year. They've been waiting. There's something is going to happen. Although I guess if you look at it this way, there's also 2 coordinators that know what they're doing, how to stop these things. But I think Purdue needs it more. It's a good point about Jordan Faison. He seems like if he has enough opportunity, he's going to break one. This is no longer a situation where you're hoping for the very tough 10-yard return by Max Hurlman, which he was good at, but it seems like Faison could shake one.
And for as much, real quickly, TP, I apologize, for as much as Purdue has overhauled and revamped its roster in short order under Barry Odom, it can't match Notre Dame's team speed, to your point, T.O. So this could be a day, and frankly should be a day, where we see a kick return or a punt return that Notre Dame has an opportunity to bust because, again, Notre Dame wasn't the fastest team on the grass last week or the synthetic grass. They should be the fastest team this week.
It clearly is a must-win for Notre Dame here in Notre Dame Stadium as the Fighting Irish look for their first victory of the season. For Tim O'Malley and John Brice, I'm Tim Priester, and this has been Instant Analysis brought to you by the RVMH Hall of Fame in the Northern Indiana Event Center in Elkhart, Indiana.